What up, guys? It's Sean again. We're back. And now we're going to be talking about some guitar. We're going to be playing guitar, talking about the right hand, talking about things you can do to stabilize your right hand and make your articulation cleaner, your technique more sound in general, and some things that have helped me over the years. Just a little bit of background. I haven't always been a finger picker. I haven't always played this way. I actually started as a flat picker on the electric guitar, and over the years I just became more and more interested in playing with my fingers, playing with my fingernails. Because it just opens up so many possibilities when it comes to articulating your chord, expressing contrapuntal ideas. So that would mean more than one voice happening at a time on the instrument. And yeah, there's just so many reasons I love fingerpicking. The classical guitar world, right? If you want to play classical repertoire, Spanish repertoire, a lot of South American, Latin American music, it all deals with the right hand playing in a fingerstyle approach, or you're using a fingerstyle approach with the right hand. So what we're going to do is we're just going to break down the basics when it comes to developing your right hand. So number one, I think, would just be understanding how people write for the right hand and what we call the fingers. So we're going to start by saying thumb is P. So we assign the letter P to our thumb. First finger is I. So we have P, I. Second finger is M for middle. And our ring finger is A for auxiliary. So just to recap, P, I, M, A. So say you're playing a really simple chord like C major. So for those of you who are just tuning in or maybe a little bit new to the guitar, a C major is just third finger, third fret, fifth string on C. And let me know how this sounds. I'm just gonna adjust my mic here. So here's our C. And then we're playing E, second fret, fourth string. Open G. And then first finger on top C, or C second string first fret. So this gives us a C major chord. So how would we notate what I just did in my right hand? Well, I'm starting on my thumb. I'm going P, I, M, A. I'm going to move the mic here so you can get a really good look at my right hand. We're just going to do a little adjustment here. So what you saw me doing there was essentially a very simple arpeggio. I'm just going P, I, M, A, M, I. P, I, M, A, M, I. Bob Stevenson is back in the chat. So Bob, grab your guitar. Grab your guitar if you wanna follow along here. It's not too complicated. We're just doing a little C major arpeggi. P, I, M, A, M, I. And a good way to prepare to play this way is to just shake your hand out, have it be very loose, right? Just as loose as can be. And we're going to bring it over to the instrument. And just let our fingers fall on their own string. So each finger has its own string. P is resting on string 5. So this is a good way to create stability. Just rest your thumb on the 5th string. you can just practice keeping all of your fingers on their respective strings, starting with thumb on 5, I, or your first finger, is resting on the 4th string, M, or second finger, is resting on the 3rd string, A is resting on the 2nd string. So they're all planted or resting on the string. Here, I'll try to get a little closer. You can see exactly what's happening. So as you can see, I'm planting my fingers firmly on the strings, and that puts me in a really, really good position for just arpeggiating this chord. You just have to simply take your finger from here to here. It's a very small motion in D. So let me do that again for you. C major arpeggio. My mic is in the way, so I'm doing my best. Right, it's important to keep your hand very relaxed. This is essentially my hand's position if I were to just let all of the energy out of it. And I'm just going up and down my chord. Right, so C, E, G, C, G, E, C, G. Sorry, C, E, G, C, G, E, C, E, G, C. P, I, M, A, M, I. So what we've talked about is planting your finger on the string. So touching the strings with your fingers, not playing them, just feeling them with your fingers, so that you could just simply move a finger, pull it back over the string, and it plays the string, and then you can return it to that resting position. What this is going to do is allow you to kind of get a feel for how your hand should be in a neutral position, right? Even if you're not touching the strings, if you're used to planting right on the string, you're going to still have that mental image of where your finger needs to be. So it's kind of like you're calibrating your right hand a little bit when you rest on the string, because even when you pull it off, you still have that muscle memory. You still kind of know where your hand needs to be. So what I like doing is taking a bunch of simple chords in first position and doing this right hand pattern. And this is really good for the beginners out there that are just getting into fingerstyle playing. Just take a very simple pattern. So thumb or P, I, M, A, M, I. P, I, M, A, M, I. And we're just going up and down a C major chord. Then maybe go down to an A minor chord. I'm holding the guitar up because I don't quite have my angles sorted out here, but I think you get the idea. So essentially, you want to just try exploring a bunch of different chords in the first position. So maybe let's then go to F major. Getting a feel for different string groups. Then maybe we can go down to G. I'm playing a real simple G voicing. I'm just in the 3rd fret here with my 3rd finger, and then the 2nd fret on the 5th string with my 2nd finger. And it's really simple. Just playing the bottom 4 strings. You can see here my grip. Pretty straightforward. I'm not playing our conventional big wide open G like this. I've just got it on the bottom 4 strings. Right? And when you get really comfy with this, you can kind of try to speed it up, maybe change your chord progression up a bit. Gone a bit sharp there. So I'm just playing a really simple progression here. It's just F to A minor to C major to F, and then I'm playing an F sus4, F sus2. Da, da. Right, so I'm just using the same arpeggio we were playing on G, P, I, M, A, M, I. So check out my right hand, P, I, M, A, M, I. P, I, M, A, M, I. So you can take these arpeggios, these right hand patterns, once you're comfortable with them, and try changing up your chord progression. Now, for those of you who are maybe a little bit more advanced and who are getting into playing bar chords a little bit, that's what I was doing here. I was basically taking some chords you could play in first position, like F, C, and A minor, and I was simply playing the bar chord version of those chords. So let me show you the equivalents here. Just for those of you who are getting into this, it's good to kind of start mapping out this section of the neck, excuse me. So here's F. You could play it here or down here. For those of you who have played the Beatles' Hard Day's Night, I think Bob Stevenson, you've checked that tune out. You're gonna see this chord, this big low F major. If you choose to play it there, right? You have the choice. So that's the equivalent. Little first position F. This is a chord many of you know. The beginner guitarist in the room. This is a slightly deeper version of that same chord. Then here's A minor. Now, how do you make a bar chord minor? Well, it's this second finger, right? If your second finger is down on the third string, you're playing that major bar chord shape. And this is altering the third note in the scale. The third, or the 10th in this octave, right? But that's getting a little technical. All you have to know is that the second finger alters the bar chord. Here's a minor bar chord, no second finger. Here's a major bar chord, right? And then maybe going up to C. That's the same as this chord. And all the while, I'm playing that same arpeggio with my right hand. Now this is a slight alteration. I'm playing 2 bass notes with my thumb. So string 5 and string 4. You see how the thumb is always straight? The thumb is always kind of like a straight little paddle doing this motion, right? The reason is when you curl your thumb, you see the sympathetic effect it has on your other fingers. Do this, hold your hand out straight and curl your thumb and see what your other fingers do. It kind of tenses up the other tendons. So this is kind of a strange anatomical feature that I've discovered. So if you keep your thumb straight, it's easier to maintain finger independence over here, right? Keep that thing straight. And then, yeah, just really small motions. You're always trying to achieve the smallest possible motion in order to produce your sound. So you're not working harder than you have to. If you want to extend your arpeggios, take a bar chord, for example, put your 3 fingers on the top 3 notes, and your thumb will play the bottom 3 strings. So your thumb is almost always responsible for your lower notes, just based on the shape of your hand. This is a good thing to remember when you're making your own fingerstyle arrangements, or you're trying to, I don't know, maybe experiment with some arpeggios. Your thumb is always playing the bass strings. You're never going to play with your thumb up on the high strings, unless you're going for some sort of pizzicato effect, which would be this. So pizzicato is kind of like an articulation taken from orchestral playing. Usually you hear the string section plucking with their finger, like this. But on the guitar, what you do is you palm mute and then dig in real hard with the soft part of your thumb. It's not the nail. So that's kind of a more advanced right hand technique, but that's one of the only cases where you might find yourself playing with the thumb on the top 3 strings. Okay, so we've looked at first position chords with simple right hand arpeggios. So just taking 4 strings, 4 fingers, all resting on those respective strings, and just doing this. I'm just going to take a second to fix this, because as the temperature changes in here, so does my tuning. Cool, so we're just doing some simple arpeggios. Jess, what's up? You came just in time for the tuning. So we're doing some simple right hand arpeggios. Thumb, first, second, third, second, first, thumb. All on their own string set. Now, if you're trying to arpeggiate different chords, you just move this shape around, right? Every string has its own finger. Just like when you're playing in position, every finger has its own fret. So if we're playing G, thumb on the low string, first on 5, middle on 4, auxiliary on 3. I'll use the proper titles. P, I, M, A on 6, 5, 4, 3. And you just want to roll it really gently up and down. Just try rolling it up and down and just build that facility. Keep a nice, relaxed hand. Use the smallest motion possible. Just relax and play on different chords. Just try arpeggiating them. Right? We're not trying to necessarily play a tune. We're just trying to build facility in our hand. Right? So with this kind of exercise, you can kind of be free with it. Try new chords, and then try just arpeggiating them up and down in their static position. Right? This just this block chord. You can just arpeggiate it. It's not an arpeggio in the traditional sense. It's more of just like a broken up chord, I guess. Right now I love just like playing little progressions, arpeggiating up and down. I'm just using that same pattern I showed you earlier. I'll just give you a better view. And on my left hand, I'm playing C major 7, E minor 7, F major 7. And back down to C major 7. And these are really simple, movable 4-part chords. Zeppelin. But you can see how over time it just becomes a lot easier to arpeggiate those things quickly. In your right hand, you build those reflexes, right? It's kind of like, what's a good analogy? You know, it's kind of like when you see a really good driver just sort of flowing in and out of lanes and making decisions on the fly and always looking in their mirrors and doing all this subconsciously. Or when you see like a really good drummer just playing super fast single strokes and you just can't fathom how his reflexes are so fast or just how quickly he can do those single strokes. Well, it's the same with the right hand on the guitar. You're building up your reflexes. So start slow, relax, and it's actually not like exerting more energy will build speed. It's just having more control and just being more comfortable with it. And when you're playing fast, you usually want to be really relaxed because the more tense you are, the more likely you are to clam and buzz a note or something, right? So just keeping it really relaxed. So now let's talk about using the right hand to play single note lines, right? So I just wanted to leave you guys with a little arpeggio exercise for chords. But say you're playing a C major scale. We'll try this with C major and E minor pentatonic. So 2 simple scales that you've probably learned. And if you haven't, just stay tuned and we're gonna talk about it in depth. So let's start with C major. So C major is gonna follow roughly the same position as the chord C major in the first position, or roughly the same fingering. So we're going to be 3rd, open, 2, 3, open, 2, open, 1. And then we'll just come back down from there. I'm just going to go through that again. Just let it hang there for a sec before landing back on C. So essentially, we're here to talk about the right hand, but I wanted you to get the fingering there. So 3, open, 2, 3, open, 2, open, 1. And we're on strings 5, and then 4, open, 2, 3, 3, open, 2, and then string 2, open, 1. That's C major, and you just come back down. Now, what are we doing with our right hand if we're playing with just our fingers, no pick, right? So for those of you who are new to this, our thumb is going to take care of the low notes. Then you can switch over to your fingers on the 4th string. So what's happening there is I'm going 1, 2, 1. I'm alternating my 2 fingers here. So thumb, then 1, 2, 1. I'll show you that again. Thumb on string 5, then open string 4 is first finger I, M, I. P, I should really stick to the letters. So P, I, M, I. And then you just complete that pattern. I, M, I, M. So you're just alternating between these 2 fingers. You're going P, I am, 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 P. P, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I, P. So to simplify it, you start with your thumb, and then you just alternate I am, these two fingers, the whole time. And I'll give you a closer look of what's really going on. So I don't have my strap on, so it's a little bit hard to stand and play like that. But again, we're talking about planting, right? So touching the string just briefly before playing it so you're stable, using a very small motion, and just brushing the string, right? You're not taking too much of the string. You don't want to be pulling it, tugging it. You don't want it to get caught on your finger. And now this is a lot easier when you have nails. But even if you have skin, make sure you're not taking too much of the string, and you're just letting the string brush over your finger. It's just like this. It's this motion. Oops. Where can I do it? Right, up, there it is. Just this, right? It's a very simple motion. Very simple. You're just bending at your first knuckle. Right, you just place it on a string. Now I think I'm going to get more light in here next week, guys, because it's not quite bright enough. We're going to get a brighter light. We're going to get it all set up for you. What's that say there? I'm going to make this chat bigger for a sec. Bob, thanks for hopping in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's good to see you, bro. You will be entered to win the guitar, so that's a good thing. And keep practicing your arpeggios. Take some of the chords from Hard Day's Night. Take some of the chords from other tunes you're learning, and just try breaking them up with your right hand. Now, you can essentially use that I am trick. Yeah, it's good to see you, man. You can use that I am alternating trick for most single note lines. You can take your scales and just try running them all over the neck with your alternating I am. Now here's a trick. So what am I doing? I'm just kind of playing through vaguely C major stuff. But I'm thinking about where my thumb is being planted, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this. What you can do is plant your thumb on a string. So I'll show you up close. So my thumb is just resting on a string. It's planted there. And my fingers are alternating on a higher string. So what that does is it provides your hand with some stability and allows your fingers to kind of have that support. Just, it's more comfortable, right? It's more stable. You see a lot of people playing like this. I highly recommend it. So it's a good technique. So we've covered planting, we've covered arpeggios. What can we talk about with the right hand? Oh yeah, there's a really famous style. It comes from Brazil, and it's called bossa nova. And there's also a really famous school of country picking from the United States of America. You can just call it country picking, thumb picking, invented by Chet Atkins and contemporaries like Doyle Dykes. And there was also Travis picking, Merle Travis. It's kind of another school of it. And both of these styles have something in common, and it's that they use the thumb in the right hand to play bass notes and the other fingers to play melodies or accompaniment. So this is a really good thing to practice. because it shows up in all sorts of music from pop, rock to jazz, anything. So think of the guitar as being two instruments, the bass. So this is me just playing C and bouncing back and forth between strings 5, I'm kind of trying to remember Freight Train. I don't really remember it, but it's like a folk tune that uses this technique. It's kind of country picking, right? I'm just making it up as I go along here. But I'm just showing you roughly like the technique of playing with your thumb in the bass. So bouncing back and forth between those low strings and then using your fingers to play the accompaniment up top. So something the beginners can do at home is just take C major and play those bass notes like this. Or even more simply, just C to G, right? So C, third finger, third fret, G, C, G, C, G, C, G, right? And you can just think of really simple things to do with your fingers while this bass line's happening. Here's one on A minor that comes out of a Black Keys tune. This is kind of cool. So again, the thumb is just bouncing back and forth between those two bass notes. You can do the same thing on C. Maybe play a C6 like this. I'm just playing around with different patterns. So a good way to start is just to loop those bass notes with your thumb, just bouncing back and forth between two bass notes, and then just try adding like one finger at a time. So that was my second finger on 2, while my bass note's going back and forth, and I'm just playing a C6. So for those of you who kind of want to learn a spicy new voicing, take your C major, take your third finger, put it down on A as if you're playing an A minor, and then take your pinky, put it back on C. This is a C6. Because A is the 6th note in C. Pretty cool. And then all I'm doing is kind of taking my third finger on and off. Anyway, freight train's a tricky one. I'm gonna go practice that. But I'm basically just showing you all the different ways you can apply that bass note melody combination. It's a very tricky style of guitar playing. Chet Atkins, one of the early proponents of this style, was known to practice a whole lot. Basically, any free moment he got, he was practicing. So, take your time, build up your facility with the thumb, then slowly start adding fingers. So start on C. So that's string 1, string 2 with 2, then I'll use the proper names. So A on string 1, M on string 2, I on string 3, M on string 2. Right? We're just going back and forth. And that's just a push, like a dotted quarter to an eighth, like ba ba do ba, ba ba do ba. Right? And you can change up the rhythm. And when you start getting that syncopation between the thumb and the fingers, that's when it gets really interesting. So we talked about arpeggios. Just arpeggiating any chord like P-I-M-A-M-I, 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 P-I-M-A-M-I. And you just go up and down your chords like that. It's good to build facility. And then try breaking it up. Try getting the thumb to sound like a bass. And then play a melody with your fingers. Do it for your health. I don't know what to tell you. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So just take it slow and start building up your facility. There was one other thing we covered. Scale playing, alternating I, am, I, am, I, am. So say you're playing C. Now watch my right hand. Only playing these two fingers, just alternating nice and relaxed. And I'm planting my thumb on the 5th string for stability, right? So when you're playing these doubles, well, I don't really call them doubles. They're just alternating single note lines. You want to rest your thumb, plant your thumb for stability. So yeah, I hope this gave you guys some stuff to think about, some stuff I work on, and just some tricky stuff. Check out Freight Train by Elizabeth Cotten. That was this tune. That's a pretty tricky one, deceptively tricky, right? So The guitar is wonderful because there's just so many different ways to attack it, so many different ways to approach it. Fingerstyle playing is a slippery fish, so get on it now while you're young. Don't be like me. Don't wait till you're in your 20s to learn how to fingerpick. You have the chance, and you have this free lesson every Friday. So just send me a message. I'll answer it, and we'll get it going. All right, guys, this has been Sean for Beyond the Beat with a little freestyle masterclass on right hand playing. Just some fun things I do. So check it out. Get into it. I'll see you next weekend. See you next Friday night. I'll be here. Same time, same place. Tune in. Drop into the chat for a chance to win a brand new electric guitar. That's pretty awesome. Peace out.